What I guess the passing game struggles on Monday. Just I guess what do you kind of attribute?
We just were off a little bit. We Russ missed a couple throws. You got to give Minnesota some credit. They did some nice things. Combination of just some of the pass rush, some of the things that they took away from us. But I think what you see is when they do that, it allows Russell to create with his legs. I mean, the run late in the game that was created, that was a kind of a shot type play where they played it really well. They passed everything off, and he was able to create. So just one of those days. We were just kind of off a little bit, and would have been nice to hit David on one of those go balls down the boundary. And again, we were running it so well that there were limited opportunities to do it, and we felt good about the running game.
What you mean by that with Russell's run is because they had everybody back, right?
They did, yeah. They were playing soft. They were trying to, they call it pattern match things, and they did that. They did a really good job, and again, a lot of respect for Harrison Smith back there. He solves a lot of problems for people. Yeah, but Russ found the lane off the backside, and that was, again, a big play in the game.
You've always been a run guy, but have you seen the run have this much of an impact in the middle of the season and on the passing game and protection?
I can't remember all the years in New York. We were really good running the ball in New York. I think we led the league one year. It's been very impactful. I mean, again, you really look at the one game, the Carolina game was the one time where we felt like somebody kind of slowed us up a little bit. But I say it's easy. It's never easy to call a game, but when the run's going like that, it's easier to call the game. You're playing a great defense in Minnesota. It's a back and forth game. Defense is playing awesome. You can kind of keep just pounding at it, and at some point it's going to unfold and you're going to pop a big run, whether it's Russell or Rashad or Chris Carson. So it's not easier. It simplifies the game. I think that's the way that I look at it. And then again, the thing that I like to continue to talk about is the one team that took it away, Carolina. We were able to still do things in the passing game that hurt them, but we're still very, very confident running the football.
The Detroit game, the Minnesota game, when you run 42 times, going into those games, a ballpark of how much you plan to run? You said you run as it goes, but
yeah,
how much ballpark? What did you think?
Again, there's some runs late where you're trying to run out the clock, things like that maybe, but there's no number. Again, we hit our number. It was, what did we hit, 42 and 10, so we were 52. So our number is 50. It doesn't happen, rushing attempts and completions. We never think it's going to be 42 and 10 or 10 and 42. That's not a good thing normally, but we were able to do it. And again, I think that's just a good formula for us. So you never know how it's going to unfold. I think the balance was off a little in this game, but we were able to do what we needed to win.
Do you script, Brian?
We do. Openers.
And what's the goal in scripting?
A lot of different things. There's certainly things you want to look at from a formation, personnel grouping, how they're going to treat certain players. There's a little bit of trying to get people involved. Some of it's as simple as trying to say, hey, we really like this play during the week, and this is something that we want to see. It really is different each week, but you're not married to it. We're not so married to the script that it's like, okay, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've done that before a long time ago, and if you run for 9 yards, let's say on first down, and the second play is supposed to be a pass, you're almost crazy if you do. Oh, I'm going to go throw it because it says number 2 says pass. So we have kind of opening thoughts is what we would call them. Top runs, top passes that we want to get to early in the game, and depending on how the game goes, you'll get to those earlier or later based on the rhythm of the game.
The number that we hear a lot is the first 15. Is that the ballpark?
No, we're a little bit less than that. We're more 6 and 6. So, and then of course we have secondary plays we like. But again, I feel like sometimes you can give the players too many thoughts. You give them 15, and by the time you get to 13 or 14, you're talking about that on the sidelines anyways. So we kind of have a number of 6 runs, 6 passes that we start with.
You mentioned David Moore, who obviously almost had a couple touchdowns last week, but hasn't actually caught a pass in the last 2 games. Is there anything specific that you have to do to get him going, or is it just, he gets on the foot and bounds and it's a different story?
Yeah, I don't think so. We don't worry about David in that regard. I mean, he beat him on the first play or the first time we took the shot, and Russ just underthrew it. I mean, that happens. He made a really great, spectacular catch on the other one. So I don't think so. I think we're past that with him. We don't worry about that, hey, we have to get him involved, or you got to show him a ball early like that. I don't think that's the case. He's always going to work. He's always going to get open, and Russ believes in him, and we'll find him. As you can see in that game, just it didn't work out in this past game.
All right, 6 and 6. You meant opening 6 runs, opening 6
Correct.
runs.
Yeah, 6 and 6. Yep.
So those are plays that you would feel most confident about, right, or good about.
The opening plays, they're plays that you certainly feel you're not going to go and say, oh, I hate this play, but I'm going to put it in there. They're plays that you feel good about throughout the course of the week, or that you saw on film, and or that, okay, hey, I want to find out if this formation brings something specific.
Right, and so that's what I was going to ask, because there have been times where you've gone 3 and out on the opening drive, but when you watch on the sideline, the reaction is not necessarily frustration, it's more of like the realization
Absolutely.
of we saw what we needed to see, didn't move the ball the way we wanted to, so how does that all kind of play?
Well, you obviously don't want to go 3 and out ever.
No,
but
it doesn't feel like it's devastating.
For sure. We have a philosophy here, and I've learned a lot from Pete, but about how you can't win the game in the first quarter. You got to just play the game out. We're in the business of solving problems and creating solutions as a staff. So the game rarely goes exactly how you maybe envision it. We all have a vision of how the game might go. I didn't think that game would be 3-0 going into whatever it was last week. But you're always gathering information. It's a little bit of a cheat, I think, with the way the technology that we have anymore. So if you do miss something, you just kind of go over and you slide through the pictures and you're like, okay, that's what they were doing. So as long as you're trying to gather information, there's always things we're looking for. The guys in the box do a great job of giving me so we have a nice routine as a staff.
Surface tablets done that the fax pictures weren't doing? What's helped you there?
You can get through them quicker. Like the old pictures you had to flip, and one would be like if you wanted to do like the 2 sideline, the 2 end zone, they were really small. These are basically the full size. You can get through them quicker, basically. So now you can still write on them. You use your finger to write them. It's pretty cool. I'm not a techie guy, but they're pretty cool that you can do that, and you can save them and star things like. If there's a sudden change, you don't get maybe a pressure to Russ, you can star it and be like, hey, I got to make sure I show him that later. So that's pretty cool.
And they still have to be still, right? There's no video.
Yes. Yeah, they're still. Yep.
The series before the half, where Russell was here, is there anything else about the kind of how you got down there that was a teaching point or anything like that in terms of the way, the time? I guess I used a couple of timeouts there.
Yeah, there was a couple plays I got in later that we just didn't feel good about. We felt like there's a lot of communication. We're always watching the play clock, and if it's an important play, you certainly want to make sure that if you need to call timeout, you don't want to ever waste timeouts, but you're willing to do it if it's an important play. 3rd down conversion to Mike was a big play. I think we used one there, so we were able to continue the drive. But, it would have been great to come away with points in that situation. A lot of things we could have done different. I know Pete said that he's involved with that. I need to be better. And then Russ needs to be better. Russ knows that. He just throw the ball away. I need to remind him. So between the 3 of us, it should have never happened.
I forgot what I was going to ask you. So completely forgot.
Sorry, I might forget the answer too.
I had one other. The tight ends, it got him involved quite a bit for a while, but maybe the last couple of weeks it hasn't. Just statistically, last week I guess nobody did that was receiving. But is that a spot you did?
No. Again, we worry more about the efficiency in the passing game. Of course, we want explosives. We've been hitting explosive plays. They do so much of the dirty work. That they don't get maybe talked about with some of the things they do from the run game or the pass protection. I know that they would probably want more balls and they would probably want to field, but we feel very comfortable in any situation, whether it's Ed Dixon against Detroit or Nick Vannett on a big 3rd down against Carolina, throwing those guys the ball. Again, the production last week just really wasn't there for anybody, but we're not frustrated with those guys at all. But at the same time, we're also not sitting there saying, oh yeah, hey, we have to go do this or that.
I had an epiphany.
Okay, good.
Have you ever had the same opponent twice in 3 weeks, and who do you think does it benefit a defense or an offense to be there?
I can't, probably not within this tight of a stretch, maybe like another week or 2. It's happened before, but I think this is probably the closest. I don't know if it's that big of a deal. I don't really know who it benefits, to be honest with you, because you really have 2 games to go on. You have the game that you just played, then the game that they played. I think the teams know each other pretty well. Certainly, our guys understand Robert and their scheme and what they try to do, and Pete and Kenny understand what Kyle's trying to do. So I think it comes down to you go out there, you put together a plan, and it comes down to execution. So I don't really think it helps either team.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.